Hi, my name is Lena and I'm a professional flute teacher. I graduated this year from Westchester University of Pennsylvania in the United States. I got my master's degree and I was a principal flute at the Westchester Symphony Orchestra. So I would like to share with you my ideas and my suggestion for this concerto, and I hope you will find it helpful for yourself. I really appreciate that you send me your video, and I actually really like your tone quality. So your sound was very rich and it has full of energy and it sounds really full. And that's what we exactly need for this piece. And I also like your posture and your sense of rhythm. So I would say your concerto is almost ready. We just need to work and focus on some little details, and I think you're done. So let's begin. So D major concerto starts with, I would say, not really comfortable note and trill and scale right after that. So that's the first thing the audience hear from you. So you get impressed everyone with the first phrase. So we should really focus on that. And right after that we have high D for 4-bar. So when we see in any pieces long tone for more than 1 bar, so we must do something with this. So what we can do, we can show your dynamic range or your ability to use vibrato. I think in our case it's better to focus on dynamic range. So instead of just play like that, so we can do piano, we can start with piano, and we can do a little bit crescendo and play with forte in the end of phrase. So, and play forte right after that. So originally Mozart didn't write any dynamic in these bars, but we can do it, and or you could start with piano and do like mezzo forte and do forte in the end. So it's all depend your breath, how long you can hold your breath. Right after that, everything I would say sounds really nice, and in a bar 58, I would suggest do not take breath, so do not breathe in the end of the phrase. So which means don't cut the phrases, because the phrases are the same as the sentences. So for example, we are not saying hi, my name is Elena. We're saying hi, my name is Elena. And so the same should be in music. So we don't want to cut our phrases. So instead of that, so you can just play whole sentence in one breath. I understand maybe it's kind of complicated because you are run out of breath, but let's try. You can take breath over there after, right after A. Again. gonna sound better, much better, if you're not gonna take breath at all and you're gonna play just the whole sentence. And right after that, we want to sound a little on piano. And all the trills which we see in this piece, they should be a little bit faster. So we don't want to sit too much on them. So I'll show you right now. And right after that, we have actually trills. So just a little bit faster, all the trills. And in the second part, where is 78 bar, I would say let's play with a little bit more energy. Because it's a second part of our first movement and it should really sound energetic. What else I would suggest you? I would say there is a little tricky passage in a bar 86 and 87. So sometimes I hear that I think that all students have the same problem, even me when I just started playing this concerto many years ago. So that's how I think human brain works. When we see something easy to play, we playing this faster. When we see something difficult or mild, we just slowing down the tempo. So that's why concerto doesn't sound in one tempo. So we should keep the same rhythm, always same tempo. So I found very helpful for myself to play with metronome. And I suggest to all my students always play with metronome, because it just sounds that Mozart, his concerto D major or G major, it sounds easy to play, but actually that's one of the most difficult pieces. And to keep rhythm, so do not rush the tempo and do not slow down. In the middle, it's kind of hard. So even for professional musicians, so definitely it would be very helpful to play with metronome always, and maybe start to play slowly because we are not rushing. So just start slow tempo and to play from the beginning to the end in one tempo, and you can just play faster and faster, and that's it. So for example, passages, when we see in bar 86, 87, we want to slow down, but we cannot because we have same tempo. So something like this. And also, actually, the rest of the piece sounds very nice. I really like dynamic. I like the phrases. Um, Generally, I like how you play this concerto. Just do not rush. Make sure you play all trills a little bit faster, and um, don't try to cut the phrases. So try to imagine that um, each phrase it's like the sentence. So you telling the story, and that's how I think it will be easier to play for you. So the other very important thing, which I tell my students, before you play something, you gotta learn something about composer and the period of time when he lived. So he lived in Baroque period, or classic period, or romantic period. So for example, Mozart, he lived in a classic period, and for classic period it was they had very clear texture. They have very less complex structure of music than in Baroque period. So music was very light, and melody was very important in that time. So for example, in Baroque music, accompaniment was very important. So second voice. In classic period, so melody is more important. And so this all structural clarity, it's affecting music. And also in classic, if you look at architecture by that time, so everything was defined by symmetry, logic, everything was rational. So when it's logical, so and like symmetry, so we can count very easy, and we can see that the music structure is very clear for us. So when you know all information about music of that period of time, about composer, what was happening in that period of time, when you read about it, not only in music, what was happening in architecture, what was happening in history of that time, it's gonna help you a lot to figure out how to play this music, how to be in character. I think that's all my suggestions. I'm just gonna play again the whole piece for you, and I hope you will enjoy.